Hello, Tom from Star Frontiers Gamer. And today we have another Frontiersman Friday, number 4. And we're going to be looking at Star Frontiersman number 4. This numbering system is going to work out and keep me straight, I think. So let's just get right to it. Star Frontiersman number 4. It's subtitled Home Sweet Home. And it's got a lot of interesting content here. I was actually going to switch up the format for these to do just the highlight articles that I think are the most interesting ones, and like maybe do 2, maybe 3 of these issues together. But I got to this one and I was looking at it and I'm thinking, I really kind of want to just cover stuff. So we're going to continue with the original format for this one as well. The first article is this technical journal article on FTL travel, and I never paid much attention to it, simply for the fact that I'm perfectly okay with how FTL works in Star Frontier. So I read it and then kind of forgot about it. However, I get that there are some people that, FTL, the way it works in Star Frontiers, may not sit well with them. So this is actually a really comprehensive article on reviewing the different ways FTL has been done in different genres and different settings and different games. And so I actually think it's a really good article to be a resource sitting there. But, when something's a resource, it generally sits on your bookshelf for a long time until you go, oh, yeah, let me pull that out and reference it. So not to knock this too much. It's just one of those things that you read it once and then just kind of forget about it till you really need it some other time. The next article was a star systems, and we get the Scree-Fron star system, a Usarian colony, actually 2 colonies here, 2 inhabitable planets. And, I actually wrote my own, so I don't use this one. But at the time when this came out, it was great to have it to refer to. So, there's some interesting, as I reread it this time around, there are some interesting extrapolations that the author made from existing canon material that they then wrote into this article. So I was like, since I wrote my own Scree-Fron, system reference document and published it in the Frontier Explorer, I've kind of ignored this one, but having reread it and seeing some of these extrapolations that I didn't think of that this guy thought of, I'm like, oh, well, here's some ideas worth stealing. So I will be giving this a second look, but I probably won't bother until I'm actually going, all right, I'm going to be setting an adventure in Scree-Fron. So let me pull up my material, let me pull up this guy's material and work, merge the two together a little bit, because I like some of what he wrote in here. So this is not a bad system planetary brief. Then under new rules, we get cinematic martial arts. And I remember when this came out, and on first reading, I didn't fully get the article, but then on like second and third reading, I was like, oh, okay. I actually kind of like some of these ideas here in the cinematic martial arts. So if you don't necessarily like the martial arts skill as written in the Alphadon rules, this might be for you, for something a little bit of a change up where, maybe you don't like that the special sub skill of martial arts and Alphadon rules is tumbling, and maybe you might like something else. So there's some other cinematic moves in here that maybe you could substitute those in, or you could use this whole rule system completely. And I love this picture of this girl kicking this guy in the face Obviously, very martial arts style move. I actually did an illustration of a Dralocyte getting kicked in the face by a female, and the kick like hit him so hard the foot was you could see the foot sinking into his face, and that his feet had been lifted off the ground. So this image actually inspired me to do an illustration later on for the Frontier Explorer, and so I actually like this illustration a lot. So the cinematic martial arts, there's something there. This starting gear article, I really endorse the idea of codifying starting gear a little bit. Now, a lot of this, the fact like the technological PSA toolkit table here, giving away a free toolkit because they're pricey. Starting character cannot afford one of these toolkits on their starting money, but that's pretty standard. We've almost always given away free toolkits. If you have that skill, you got a free toolkit. You got the toolkit during your training, basically. And I like some of these things until you get down here to Psych Social. The Psych Social starting toolkit is a bodyguard. I don't get that. I don't get the logic behind that. I must be missing something. But pretty much everything else here made a lot of sense, and I kind of liked it. So there's ideas here that I like, but I don't necessarily use this. Depending on the adventure, I occasionally just give away free firearms. If you've got a skill for a particular firearm, I give you a pistol version of that firearm, basically. So there's good ideas here, but I don't normally use the starting gear article. And then we got to this article, Star Frontiers Species/Gender Ability Modifiers. And when this was originally published, it was okay. But then I thought, oy vey, man, in this environment, day and age, political climate, this is going to be a landmine. Just stay away from this article. However, I felt guilty at out of hand, just going, nope, not going to cover it. And I reread it. And CJ Williams actually is he does the right thing with this. I don't think it's a problem when you read this, what he's done with it. First of all, Dralocytes, there's no male female, there's just id. The Dralocyte goes through a neuter, a female, a male phase. Biologically, they just naturally transition through these, and the rule book specifies that they have developed drugs that they use to control what gender they're in. And so for the most part, if you're being career minded, you're probably taking the drugs to be neuter phase, just because you're not looking for the complication of offspring. So Dralocytes, there's no change to the species modifiers, the racial, what everybody calls racial modifiers. And then Versk, again, no change. The Versk male, the Versk female are essentially identical. And I thought that was a good choice, particularly with that particular species. And then, but then you have human male and human female. Now, the human male, there's no actual change. The human female, what they changed here was they did a negative to strength and a positive to intellect. So what they're saying here with these particular gender modifiers is that human females are on average slightly less, they have slightly less strength and stamina than a human male. And they are on average slightly smarter than a human male. I'm sure my wife would have something to say about that. I actually picked her because she's really smart and keeps me on my toes. But, they're not being unfair. They're not being misogynist against the human female here. It is a biological fact that the male biology does impact male physique, male muscle mass in such a way that on average, the male is going to be, so they actually made no change to the species stats for the human male and made a minor change to the human female that actually tends to follow the actual biology. This is not deniable. And so making it so that women are a little bit smarter than men, I think is actually a good thing. But if this is a problem, if this is going to cause a problem, I wouldn't use it. I would just ignore it. And then they did something similar with the Yazarians, doing different gender modifiers for male and female. And, I looked at it again, and actually here they reversed it. The Yazarian female tends to be a little bit stronger than the Yazarian male. And, I thought that was an interesting way to go, with this. So it's, they reversed it. They're not trying to be misogynist. The author's not trying to be a misogynist. He's not trying to, put down one gender over the other. He's just trying to introduce a little bit more of a flavor wrinkle, to character creation here. And, but if it's problematic, I wouldn't use it. I mean, I did reread this looking for some excuse to be like, oh, you know what? It's dated material. It's really not. And he's very even-handed, and he's, I don't see that this article should be, sidelined. I just don't see that it should be pushed to the side. Now, we get to the beginning of the equipment, here. And I love this. Looking at this article, I want to review 2 of these helmets. And so let's start with the Badlands Explorer helmet. Now, when you come to it, you say, oh, boy, look at this. 1,500 credits. That is pricey. However, I went through all of this equipment that's integrated into this one helmet, and I priced all this equipment up that's listed in here, and it came out to, where's my number? No, I wrote it down. 1,662 credits. So, and they're only charging you 1,500. So that's kind of a deal. Now, if you went and bought all of this equipment and carried it on your character, so you paid the 1,662 credits, none of this equipment would add up to any kilogram of weight that you're carrying. The helmet, however, because it's all this stuff's been miniaturized to the helmet, is 1 kilogram. So if you bought everything separate and was carrying it, you would not take the hit of 1 kilogram against how much you can carry. Whereas if you go with this helmet, it's kind of cool. Okay. And you save a little money, on it, but at the price of a kilo. So I think it's okay that they priced it out at 1,500. But then the downside is that there's a kilogram of weight going against, your encumbrance. So I'm okay with that. And right here is the picture of it, the Badlands Explorer helmet. And, and this is all cool stuff. This is the integrated chronicom with a 5 kilometer range. I could be mistaken, but I thought the description in Alpha Dawn said 3 kilometers. The fact that this is upgraded, I don't think that's upgraded to 5 kilometers. I don't think that's a big deal. I think an Explorer would want the greater range. They'd want that greater walkie-talkie range to be able to reach their other teammates in the wild. Has integrated compass in the heads-up display, integrated gas mask. I'm not sure how I feel about this regenerating dual filters, allowing one to be functioning while the other regenerates, estimated to last up to 5 years. I don't know if that's like super magical science or not. I do rule that all of these drugs in the med kit that work on all 4 species, all 4 of the core 4 species, magically work on everybody the same way. I rule that my method of explaining that is it's nanites. There's nanites in there, and the nanites read your blood and go, oh, and they act, and they just turn the switch on for Dralocyte. And then they, or they read your blood and they go, oh, Yazarian. So I just rule that rather than change the game too much, I just rule it's all nanites. So maybe there's nanites in these filters that are causing them to regenerate for 5 years. Cool. That would be an explanation that you could go with the hand wave, that little feature. There's an integrated polyvox. Now that's easily the most expensive piece of this, because the polyvox sells for $1,500, I believe. And you have integrated sun goggles. That was a whopping 2 credits right there. So that's okay. And then an integrated toxi rag gauge in the heads-up display. So all of this information is in the heads-up display, and I fully approve of that, because the toxi rag gauge, I feel, is a walking idiot light. You wear it on your equipment, and when it sniffs out, toxins, poisons or radiation, it starts flashing a light. Well, way to out you in the bush and draw attention to you. Suddenly there's a blinking light on your chest. It's like the idiot lights on your dashboard. The light comes up, check engine. You don't know what to check, but something's wrong with your engine. So I fully approve of the heads-up display with the toxi rag gauge having a readout in there, and not being an idiot light you wear on your harness to start flashing, and suddenly the Southar goes, "Oh, there he is." So yeah, this is cool stuff. Now I want to point out one other thing here: the Starlaw targeting helmet. It can be only sold to Starlaw agents. Well, the only reason for that, these special abilities that it has, this is not like special classified technology. This is just technology that's out there. And what would make this illegal to sell to a civilian or to a non-Starlaw agent is this integrated 2-channel chronocom. One channel can be used to make normal chronocom calls. The other is tuned only to a special Starlaw frequency, 5 kilometers range. It might be that the chronocom description in the rulebook says 5 kilometers. I could be mistaken. The time is shown on heads-up display in the lower right corner. So I would say that the manufacturer manufactures a special Starlaw variant. Just drop the Starlaw name from this and call it the targeting helmet. And that there's a civilian version, doesn't have that special Starlaw channel. So if you did in setting come across one of these, and you found it or looted it, like you dungeon crawling a pirate vessel, and you discovered it as loot within the pirate vessel, and then you had something, your character would be able to illegally listen in on Starlaw communications. That'd be kind of cool. So I would just hand wave that this helmet exists. There's 2 versions of this helmet. One's the Starlaw version, one's the regular civilian version, because nothing in there really makes any sense that it would be illegal to sell it to non-Starlaw agents. And so there's other helmets here. I thought this was a very interesting article, even though the helmets can't really protect your head from any more damage the way the game is run, where most of your defensive suits basically act as extra hit points. So wearing the helmet really doesn't do much for you unless you're using some sort of a hit location. And we get down to more miscellaneous equipment. Love the Explorer vest, tactical vest, the scatter guns, various shotguns. You got a pump action scatter gun, and they have an illustration of a Versk pump action scatter gun. Although I don't know that this handle back here, what's the impact going to be on the Versk of a shotgun going off? Because, a 12 gauge can have some kick. So, I'm wondering if this design, would it hurt a Versk hand, arm, wrist, or not? I'm curious. I question that, but not enough to be like, no, we can't have this in the game. I think a pump action shotgun's kind of cool, and I think it's great that we got one here that was quasi designed, for a Versk. Although this little handle grip up here doesn't look to be very Verskish to me, but I don't know. Haven't met a real Versk in real life yet. So we have some other pop. You've got pump action scattergun, does not have the the burst fire feature, which is a special feature of automatic weapons in the rules. The auto loading shotgun does not have the burst fire feature, but the assault shotgun, which is fully automatic, does. And for a ammo load of 10 shots, it can do 2 bursts. So you can either fire three shotgun shells or 1 burst fire for your combat action, just like the automatic pistol, the automatic rifle. So the automatic shotgun, that could be a lot of fun in your game. And scattergun clips, some more equipment, sniper rifle. And I want to get down to these robot programs. And because I'm working on a robot omnibus of all equipment, all robots ever done in any source of all the magazines and so on, I question these prices. These prices are a little high. But at the time this article came out, hey, this was a great idea, having a robot that had medical skill, that could mimic medical skill, or a robot that could do technician work for you. It was a great way to beef up the party. If you didn't have enough players, you add a robot that's your technician robot. He does the repairs on your vehicle for you. So, but I question these prices because they don't seem to be in keeping with the other prices of other robot programs. And that was one thing I've heavily worked on as I've collected all these robot programs that have been created over the years by various fans, is I've tried to work to bring them all together in a cohesive, sensible price ranges in relationship to each other. And so I've made changes to stuff in that robot omnibus that we're working on. And I don't believe I kept these prices. So I just point that out. But again, that robot omnibus has not hit publication yet. That should be happening this year. And then we've got some standard robots discussed, and then we get some mook robots, some security robots, and we've got this Hawkeye medical robot and a reconnaissance robot. So I love these. I love when we get these in the magazine. Some extra robots. Everything's been detailed on them. And you can just print out this page and bring it to the table as the game master, and I love that. When we get that in the magazine, so highly endorse this. Some more equipment illustrations. I believe Bill Logan was the one doing these, and love his work. This is just great stuff. Just more, more of the stuff. Love the brass knuckles there. And then locations. Now, when you look at this, you say, this location doesn't have a name. This location has a name, and you're kind of like questioning what's going on. But then the write-ups are down here. So the first write-up is a Outpost Refinery. But I was looking at this thinking, this almost evokes Mos Eisley to me, a little bit. The desert look here, although they're portraying some water, some sort of a river here, that's okay. I still say this evokes Mos Eisley for me. So I would use this, absolutely use this. And then we've got the Fountain Bar, and bar with plenty of booths, lots of tables, dance floor. So it's another location that you can use. Foyer, massive bar with bar stools, and you would have to really blow this up to use miniatures on it, but still, then they both come with write-ups. And again, I think that's great, because when you're a busy game master, sometimes you just got to be like, I need someplace quick. Here you go, a couple of things. Now we get adversaries, just an article discussing minions and mooks, and it comes down here. I love that there is a discussion on minion cowardice and minion tactics. So you might hire these guys, they might be attached to you for some other reason. They even gave us a D100 random name table for minions and mooks that you might hire. And I I love, D100 tables. What's not to love? It's a great resource. You roll on it, you use it. And then finally, we get to my personal favorite, archetypes. I love the archetypes. And we get the human xenomedical specialists. You've got your character concepts here are the surgeon extraordinaire, Florence Nighthawk, and the hypocritical Hippocrates. And, this sounds like a flawed character. So this one's the one that I kind of think like that might be the most interesting one to play. And then we come down to the Azarian priest, which the minute I see Azarian priest, I'm like, all right, I'm in. And I've actually played 2 Azarian priest. Or actually, I've played the same Azarian priest in 2 different games. Just started him over from, beginning. And but I love the Azarian priest because it just appeals to me. Maybe because I went to seminary. So there we go. But you've got the wandering holy soul, the fatherly redeemer, and the righteous defender as character concepts. And some of these edges and flaws are actually not so much an edge or a flaw as they're just a fodder for the game master to work stuff into the campaign, like the hunted by evil, haunted by the past. This is really almost just, yeah, they're trying to codify a mechanic here for the edges and flaw system, but it's really just fodder for the game master, and I totally endorse that. Then we get a new character race, the Yeni. I was not so sweet on this particular race. I think having flight as a racial ability, species ability, is a little bit too powerful. I do like this scent ability, being able to identify people and things by scent alone and can track by scent. This ability only works within 2 meters of the odor or the thing. So I like the scent ability. I think that's great, but I'm on the fence about this flying ability, whether that would be too powerful, that might really kind of upset the game. And, I just look at this character and think, how much gear is he really going to carry? But that's the Yeni. Not one of my favorites, but I don't think it's a horrible NPC race or potential player character species to play. There's a bunch of adventure hooks here, under the adventure subheading here, and Death Implant, Usurper, Temple Raiders, so on and so forth, the Great Hunt. And we come down the classifieds, and I've pointed this out with the classifieds. I love the Torita and Gorko back and forth. Again, it's just fun. And but you look at these things, like, look at this alert. ROP Robotics. Now, I'm going to point out ROP Robotics actually is canon, and ROP Robotics is a subsidiary of Tacton Robotics. And so here's this classified alert. ROP Robotics is issuing a complete and total recall of all model A55H013 robotic snakes. Due to an error in their programming, they can get carried away while cuddling. Basically, the snake has strangled a few of its owners. Please return yours to the store of purchase for complete refund immediately. So, if you printed this and just like anytime the player characters have like a layover at a starport, these are the ads that are up on the data net. You'd have this little thing there. All right, big deal. Well, they kind of tumble into an adventure there if you're doing sandbox, and there's a couple things. So they get into this adventure, and they've heard about the recall on these snakes, and somebody they wanted to talk to is found strangled by their robotic snake. So you would assume, oh, this is one of them damn snakes they recalled. Oh my goodness, we can't talk to this NPC. But then if somebody actually takes the time to notice it's not the model, the snake that choked the person they want to talk to is not the model A55H013. It's a different model altogether, that there is no recall. So somebody actually reprogrammed this particular snake to kill this individual. Maybe it's a cocktail waitress at the local fountain bar. We had the location in this magazine for the fountain bar, and she had overheard a conversation by a crime lord or mafia figure. And so they were like, yeah, we need the silencer, but we don't want it to look like a hit because we don't want to draw any attention, to our place of operation, the fountain bar. So, it's meant, they're trying to ride the coattails of the recall on the model snakes by ROP Robotics. And they just program a different model snake to kill this cocktail waitress, right? So she gets killed, and now the PCs can't talk to her. And but they start investigating the whole snake angle. Well, who had access to the snake? Who could have? So again, this little classified ad just sparks a whole adventure while you're doing a layover at a starport. Maybe the character ship's being unloaded of all its cargo, and that's going to take so much time. And while that's going on, they're just looking to make some side money. So, this type of thing can totally spark little side quests. Maybe somebody didn't show up for your regular kitchen table game, and you need something to they're just tied over the group, and till everybody's there, because the main adventure is the main adventure, and you want everybody to be there. So I love these classifieds that they did in the Star Frontiersman. These are great. These are absolutely great. Any of these could be a potential plot hook. And these substitute, if you stop and think about it, these substitute for the rumor table that used to be in the old school D&D modules, like Keep on the Borderlands. There's a D20 table in there of rumors. Some of them false. Some of them are false, but not all. But some of them are false. And so this kind of, in a way, substitutes for the rumor table, because you might go and talk to an NPC, and you'd be like, hey, so what do you hear? And he's like, oh man, did you hear about that recall? 2 people got killed. Their robotic snake strangled them. So these also double for the rumor table that we used to get in the old school modules. So that's cool too. So I totally love the classified ads that we got in the Star Frontiersman. I thought they were fabulous. So that is Star Frontiersman number 4 for Star Frontiers Friday number 4. And, at some point we might actually switch up to a different format, although I am aware of a fact that as the Star Frontiersman went on in its publication, they tended to get bigger. They tended to really get a lot of content. So doing just a high points of maybe 2, maybe 3 might become a challenge with so much content packed into some of the later issues of the Star Frontiersman, where I almost got bloated, and I think they should have had a more frequent publication schedule, and then just reserve some of that content for later issues. But that's what they did at the time, and can't go back and change it. So it is what it is. But so I am considering changing up the format on this. And if you think I should, drop a comment. If you think no, just keep doing what you're doing. We like what you're doing. Do that as well. Or maybe you think, dude, I can read the magazine myself. This is stupid. Hey, I take that feedback, because this channel is all about gaming Star Frontiers, and I happen to think that reviewing all of the past magazines might be a good use of your time, and might be something that you find value in. So if you think this particular series on the channel is of value, please drop a comment. I'd like to get your opinion to know if it's something I should continue pursuing. So this is Tom for Star Frontiers Gamer. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. I so appreciate you. And I will see you in the frontier.